Welcome to the second episode of Series 57, everybody. We're getting close to the final episode of 2022 with this one, but before we get to the episode, a quick note on our call to action.
Some of you have probably noticed that there are now officially ads in your feeds. If you haven't yet, you probably will soon. This is part of the network's move to a new hosting service, and ad revenue from that is going to allow the network to keep running and for shows to keep bringing you great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you are interested in ad-free episodes, you can get those as a Character Creation Cast patron. And we'll have more info in our show notes and in our calls to action about what all you can get for that.
Absolutely. So stay tuned after the episode to hear us thank those people that have already signed up for the Patreon, including another brand new patron.
Yay!
Ooh. Until then, enjoy the show, everybody. Last time on Character Creation Cast, we began making our characters for Ryuutama. Amber was creating an attack minstrel, Amelia was creating a magical artisan, and I was creating a technical noble. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Enjoy.
Okay. We will discuss what that means later on, because it will affect some of your things, but that will come later. So we do not have to roll up stats. You just get to determine what you want based off of these sets that they already have for you, which is on page 30.
Okay.
So basically, we talked briefly earlier on that there's only 4 stats in Ryuutama. It's strength, spirit, dexterity, and intelligence. And so they have basically an average set, which means you get 6s across the board. And 6s across the boards means all of your stats are 1d6. So if you have to roll a strength spirit, you would be rolling 2d6s.
Okay.
And then they have a standard set, which is 4, 6, 6, 8. And then they have a specialized set, 4, 4, 8, 8, which is basically just saying, you're really good in 2 things and then really bad in other stuff. So I am going to figure out what I want.
And anybody can use any of these. We don't have to all agree that we're using the same array, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go with standard here.
I'm just going to be really average.
I love it.
6s across the board.
That's real easy. I went standard as well. Let's see. So I went D6 strength, D4 dex, D6 int, and D8 spirit.
So I did 4 in strength, 8 in dexterity, 6 in intelligence, 6 in spirit.
Nice.
So then the next 3 things that we have to determine are our hit points, our mental points, and our carrying capacity. And this is on page 31. And hit points are your strength just times 2.
Okay.
So for me, I have a 6 strength, so I have 12 HP to start.
Same.
And then MP, your mental points, is your spirit times 2. So I'll have 12 to start as well.
We got 16.
And then because this game wants you to track things like your carry capacity is your strength plus 3. So mine would be 9.
Okay.
Where does that go?
I'm going to look at the character sheet for you guys.
Ooh.
It would be your max MP is this star thing in the top right underneath the int spirit.
Yep. We'll just find the carry capacity here.
Yeah.
Carry capacity. Whoo-hoo. Where are you?
Feel our equipment. You'd think it'd be somewhere around there, but
yeah, I don't see it on this sheet.
That's okay. I'll make a little note. Sorry, what did you say? Our carry capacity is what? Your strength plus 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's going to be 7.
You think it would be with your equipment.
Right.
Right.
that's a thing to talk about later.
Yep.
Uh-huh. I've got a condition on
So
here
condition is something that happens during the game. So
Okay.
you don't have to fill that out at all right now. So after we're done with the HP, MP, carry capacity, the next thing is to choose your mastered weapon.
Mhm.
So in Ryuutama, you can use any weapon that you want. Like if you found a sword, but if you're not mastered at it, you're not used to using a two-handed sword, you will take a penalty for using it.
That makes sense.
Because you held it wrong and it hurt your hands.
Mhm.
It's heavier than you thought it was.
You tear your rotator cuff.
Oh no.
So and they give you a list, and this is on page 32. They give you a list of like what kind of categories there are. And yes, you can be mastered in unarmed combat.
Okay.
And if you're not mastered in unarmed combat and you punch somebody, you will get the penalty because you didn't hold your fist right.
Yep.
Oh.
And so for people listening, the way that weapons work or like how you use combat, there's a thing called accuracy, and that's basically your to hit, right? So you'll be rolling your accuracy against like a monster's I can't remember what it's called right now, but basically that's the to hit thing. And different weapons will use different abilities for accuracy. So like for instance, the light blade uses Dex and Int, and it has a +1 on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then its damage is your intelligence -1.
Interesting. So you have to be smart with a light blade.
Yeah. And then like the damage, you don't roll for damage. It's literally just your int minus. Well, no, wait, I think you roll your int dice. I lied. It's been a minute since I've played this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
All right. I think I'm going to choose blade for my mastered weapon. It looks like you get to start with one too, which is nice.
Yes.
I'm going to go with a lawn sword.
I went with light blade, and I actually am gonna pick a dagger, I think.
I went with unarmed since I'm a puppeteer.
I love
We'll see how that goes.
it.
Okay. So are we ready for the next step?
Yeah.
Okay. So next, this is like kind of more flavor injection. So, get to give your character opportunity, like some more depth. It's determining your personal item. You would choose a small item that they would have an emotional bond with. This should be something that your character would have on them at all times. And it's just for flavor. There's no mechanical benefit. I have a tiny stuffed parrot.
Oh, amazing.
It sits on my shoulder at all time.
Oh.
It's Velcroed.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Or tied to me. I don't know. Either way, if we don't know if hook and loop fasteners exist in this world or whatever, it's attached to me somehow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
I want mine to be like a small carved something. I think it is a small carved animal, but it's not an animal I've ever seen before.
Oh, interesting.
I think I made it of an animal I saw in a dream.
Ooh, a
Oh.
prophecy.
Or just ridiculous.
Yep.
I guess we'll find out.
Okay. And I'm gonna go with a pet rock that I had created back when I was a kid, because we weren't allowed to have pets in the house.
It's kind of my theory too for my character.
Yes.
That's why he has a tiny stuffed parrot. and he's really into pirates, and so as a kid he's had this stuffed parrot.
I just have this rock with little face painted on it.
Have we invented googly eyes yet?
No.
And so the next step is really just the character details, like your name, your age, gender, and then like we alluded to earlier, there is you pick a color to represent yourself, essentially. So that I think it's just easier to like when you like make little markers and stuff on like the battlefield and things like that. But a lot of times, it's like, I'm the Red Ranger, I'm the Blue Ranger. Like that's just an easy way to be recognizable. Got to think of a name. I'm going to go with Herschel. I want to be...
Time for the book.
I want to be 27. and male. I'm writing in a green pen. I'm okay to be green. Does anybody else want to be green?
No.
Green's fine.
Do we have to like pick certain color? Like, can I pick any color?
We can pick any color.
Okay, good, because I've been writing in pink, so that's what
There you go.
we're gonna do, because that was the pen color that the iPad was on.
I'll just go with teal.
Oh, that's right. Well, see, now I feel like I had to pick dark red.
Wow, I was going to go with dark red otherwise.
Well, now I feel like I have to go to teal.
I'm just going to go with teal. It's fine. I need a good character name, though.
What are you feeling?
I've almost got one.
Okay.
I'll forget about a last name. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't. Last names.
Okay, so yeah, they've got like image, color, outward appearance, like the stuff that they kind of wear, the aura, skin, eye, or hair color, all sorts of possibilities there that this color could represent. Okay, so yes, I wear a lot of teal.
Yeah, green's predominantly green eyes, green hair, green.
Mm-hmm.
It's the jolly green, not gnome.
There you go.
Not giant. The jolly green,
Not
not
giant.
Okay, I went with Elora for my character's name, she, her pronouns, and age 19, relatively young noble.
Cool. So there are two more things after this, which are, your reason for journeying, like why did you go on this, and like where are you from originally, so your hometown. So you kind of are doing a little bit of world building in character creation, and then also personality, other details, which I think I really like that they point out, like you don't have to know this right off the bat, like you can play to find out as well, which is how I tend to find out my character's personalities. I just jump in because it's like I like to make those choices. Like personality really comes out when you're like being asked to do things or make choices and stuff.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be a cat person because I can.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how I see Herschel. He's 27. He's an attack minstrel who's a puppeteer.
Does he attack with puppets?
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, amazing.
Preferred
weapon, puppets.
I think he's trying to be like, trying to be cool, but like is not cool at all.
I love it.
Like he's trying to be like, I don't know. It's either that or he's just a complete goofball. Either way, if I would just play him, I would find out. But those are the two things that are in my head right now. It's like either he's tsundere, which is like I'm standoffish but also I'm sweet underneath, or he's just literally every character I play, which is to say a complete utter goof. As for hometown, I don't know. I mean, this is like a good question for us to talk about as far as like how do we see this world.
Yeah, it's interesting that they ask these questions before the world building. I'm
trying to remember if I did it that way when I first did the game. I guess I could go look at my podcast or my blog and see what I did, how I did it.
Still trying to find my name. Nothing is right.
There's got to be a name out there for this artisan.
I know.
Do you know what sort of artisan this character is? Because it could be anything from like blacksmith to baker to seamstress to whatever, right?
Yeah, when I did this session 0 with my group, we did world and town building last.
Okay.
No, yeah, we did. Yep. I did introduction, expectations, traveler creation, Ryuujin, and then world and town building.
Oh, interesting. That's how the book's leading us right now. So, but I mean, if this is like a fantasy world given, right? We can all come from whatever town we kind of imagine and figure out how that comes together later, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for my appearance, I went with teal cloak, cat person with calico markings, and auburn hair.
Cool.
Got the cool cat eyes too.
Oh, I just love little cute. Like I always, when I play Ryuutama, I always imagine like Animal Crossing in my head.
Coraline.
There it is.
Coraline.
Found it. I was looking for a pink related name.
Oh, there you go. Sweet Coraline.
And we'll name it after Nate's favorite book.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, so hometown, reason for traveling.
The hometown part is really hard.
Yeah. It's like without having the world built already. So I guess I could do it this way. Like if I was to think about my character Herschel, like what his life was like in his hometown, I want to think his reasoning for journeying is he's like I think he wants to make puppets a thing. You know, he wants to bring back puppetry as a respectable occupation and that people want to do.
Yeah.
So like he's like, puppets have been out of fashion. He's been like, but I really am into this. I like carving them. I like making them. I like all of it, but I need people to see my puppetry. And this town is small and word doesn't get out and people don't really know about Herschel from X town. You know, it's like, I need to go out and I want to expose people to puppetry.
I picture him as like doing like the small like indie punk band thing of like playing lots of like, not like, but like instead of like backroom bars, it's like little school shows.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's like hoping to like, you know, like start there and like build up so he can eventually do like stadium tours, you know, of his puppetry. But like for right now, he's just getting booked for like kindergartens.
Yes. And then secretly, and this could be a thing that builds out, is like he's actually a form of martial arts is the puppetry. He's actually trying to
I love it.
to keep this art alive. So his town that he comes from, maybe it's like this small, like a very small village that is like this art has been dying out and he wants to go out and showcase it again and try to get people to sign up for his puppet martial arts.
Yeah. I love it.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But but his hometown is small. I don't have a name for it. That would be something I would probably have to take some time and think about or talk about in the world building section.
Yeah.
So I think Coraline is her art is actually like fabric dyes and things.
Ooh.
Nice.
And so her goal with traveling is going to be to go out and just like find things to make new dyes, but ultimately she would like to make a color that does not exist.
Ooh.
Yeah, she'll have to find her Banta Black.
Somewhere there's a mushroom.
Right.
That the dye absorbs all light.
Right. And I think she's from like some kind of like coastal like trading town.
Oh.
So like I think that this is I made her 30, so she's a little more established. And I think she probably has a business or it's a family business or something like that. And has been doing this for a little while, but wants to make it an art form rather than just like make clothes as art rather than utilitarian.
Yeah. Okay. And I my character also comes from a small town where my family's kind of the leaders of the community. Mm-hmm. They're kind of the wealthiest family in the area because of their successful trade that they have going on. So maybe we could even come from the same small town, Amelia. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picturing mine as like a little bit bigger. It's like a trading hub.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing too, kind of like a trading hub, but like so probably on the coast. Mm-hmm. And there's probably like a small-ish town feel off of that hub. Okay. Right?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people coming in, but only a small amount like actually live there and stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you have a small permanent community, and like one or maybe two big trades that are like localized here, but the rest are like imports, exports sort of stuff.
Okay.
Which could make a lot of sense. But my character's the youngest of 5 kids. So there wasn't much place for Elora in the family trade since all the older kids already have the prominent positions within there and there's like nothing left over. And it's like, what am I going to do?
You have the youngest baby syndrome of like,
exactly.
Everybody's already done the things and your parents are really tired. So I don't know, just do whatever.
Right. Do whatever you want. So I feel kind of a little neglected from my family upbringing. Even though there was a lot of love in the family, it was just like, I have to find my own way. So all the training that my parents put me through, all that sort of stuff, I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna go follow my passion, and maybe I can use some of my money to help bring joy to the world. And maybe that is through funding these up and coming art projects. And so,
and your parents were like, mind your investments, and you're like, puppetry and dies.
Yeah.
You're like, this is where it's at.
This is where it's at. Not investing for a profit, but investing for the fun of it.
Heck yeah.
Bring art to the people.
I love it.
Puppetry's the future.
It is. And I think of what I could dress my puppets in with the fabrics that you dye. Oh my gosh.
I'm already thinking of like the graphics for this. What I'm gonna make.
Amazing.
So, I mean, that's basically it. Like after you'd go through that, then you would fill out the more of your character sheet, which is, if you look at your your class sheet, there is things like, for instance, my minstrel. I would be able to take these 3 like skill things, which are, I have well-traveled, I have knowledge of tradition, and I have music, which when I was playing this game with my group, we kind of like would homebrew things a little bit, because it, like, for instance, like maybe I shouldn't pick music because I didn't pick that as for my minstrel.
Right.
So I could probably change it to be something different. Like I could put on like perform, instead of just saying music, and then I could still do the same mechanical benefits that music would give, but I would just narratively do it different. But yeah, well-traveled, it's like as a minstrel, I get to the skill effect for having well-traveled is I get to make a +1 to journey checks. And that's like for travel, direction, camping checks, it's always an effect. It's a passive ability. I get +1 to all journey checks. Knowledge of tradition basically means since I'm well-traveled, I've experienced a lot of stuff. So I can get more information about things that I see and hear. So basically, anytime I come across something interesting, I can use my int and roll int twice to like get some knowledge about something. And then there's that music that, I would change to perform, in this case for Herschel. And basically I can do a buff. Like I'll put on a little like inspiring puppet display for you all, and you guys would all get a bonus to your next roll.
Oh, nice.
A +1 bonus to your roll. Whatever roll it could be. Yeah. I could mess up. I could perform so badly that it gives you guys all a status effect.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
So like if
so
I rolled
embarrassed.
if I roll a fumble, if I rolled 2 1s, you'd all get a fumble point. But if you had a condition of 6 or less, you would get muddled as a status effect. And then there's a chart elsewhere in the book that shows you what that means.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
like,
good.
Let's see. So for we had a noble, right? And an artisan.
Yeah. So I have trapping, which allows me to get materials from monsters that we've defeated. So the TN is the monster level ×2, and it uses my dexterity and intelligence.
Yeah, and TN stands for target number. So like the GM will set like some sort of thing, like what you have to get, or
based on the
or
difficulty of the monster, I assume. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I have crafting, which it says you can use the skill to make handy, cute, beautiful, or delicious things. Probably not delicious in my case. And then let's see here. Let's see. When choosing an artisan class, choose a single category from this list: weapons, armor, shoes, capes, staves, hats, accessories, food, sundries, camping equipment, or containers. If you choose shoes, for example, you can make any item in the shoes category. If you fail the skill check, you may try again. The materials won't be lost, but the time will. So I think in my case, if RGM would be okay with it, I would pick like clothing. I know this says like capes, staves, hats, accessories, whatever. But hopefully clothing is not too broad of a category. Make an item from your specialization. Choose the specialization category when choosing this class, which I am gonna pick. I don't know.
There you go.
Where dyes fall. Like, I don't know if I count as like a seamstress or like.
There is like a name for that, I thought.
It's like not really like a designer, but like
right.
a clothier of some sort.
Clothier. Yeah, something like that.
And then I also have repair. You can repair damaged items, restoring their durability to full use. Use the table below to determine the repair check target number, which tells me like how much the item costs versus how hard it is to fix.
A dexter?
A dexter is a person who dyes cloth.
Huh. Interesting. So basically what so in this book they have like shop item things that you can like buy from. So basically I think what it is saying is like if your character wanted to make a piece of clothing that would in the book is 10,000 gold or less, you would have to roll at least an 8 in order to make it.
Right.
Same with repair. Like if I broke my puppet, and we decided the puppet was worth 100,000 gold.
Right. It would be a lot harder to fix something that is like more expensive. Like, the better it's made, the harder it is to fix and or make to begin with.
My priceless heirloom puppet. And then you roll really bad and you make that horrible monkey Jesus painting, that fresco.
Oh, no! Yes!
You turn my puppet into something horrible. Right. Which is funny to me. To roleplay that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Right, like you don't want to have a feeling. Like...
Thanks. I love it.
I tried.
I tried.
An attempt was made.
I think it captures the original spirit.
Right.
Amazing. For noble, I get etiquette. So the skill effect is leaving a positive impression on someone of high rank or status. So I get that. That uses Dex and Int to roll. And that's a contested roll for the TN. And then I also get a refined education. So no detailed information about the things you see and hear. So that sounds like a kind of like a knowledge check of sorts.
Yeah.
Right. That uses Int plus Int, which is interesting. And that's a GM's discretion on the TN. But then I also get Weapon Grace, which you can choose. I could choose a second mastered weapon category if I so chose, or I could choose the same one and get +1 to my accuracy checks. So I went with the same one, which is Blade. So now my Blade, it gives me +1 for accuracy checks.
Cool. So after putting all that information in, remember how I was like, we have the type that we picked. Now you would put the effect of what a type does. So if you go to the next page after all of the character class stuff, on page 52 is now the type things.
Okay.
So for instance, we all three picked different. So I'll talk about attack, which is I get to have toughness, which is my max HP goes up to 4. Wait, do I get to pick all? Yeah, I can pick all 3 of these things.
That's what it sounds
power.
like.
So I get toughness, power, and weapon focus. Toughness is the max HP +4, so mine will go up now to 16. Then I get +1 bonus to damage rolls during combat. That's power. And then weapon focus, I get another mastered weapon. So if for instance, the noble wanted to, the noble could take attack and end up getting like 3 mastered weapons if they wanted to, which is hilarious. I think I'm going to gain light blade.
Nice. All right, for the technical type, this type has great focus and excels at overcoming adverse circumstances. They shine brightest when there is a check that they must not fail. So accurate, I get a +1 bonus to any check when using concentration for a total bonus of +2. That's interesting. Quick, I get a +1 bonus to initiative checks in combat. That'll be nice. And pocket, your carrying capacity is increased by +3. Aw, I get to carry everything now.
Yay.
Carry capacity is now 12. And initiative is Dex plus int, it looks like. Is it fixed or do you roll?
I believe you roll.
Okay.
I believe. I could be wrong. Again, it's been a little bit since I've
It would make
played
sense if your
this.
dex is a D8 and your int is a D6. You would roll both of those. and
Yeah.
then
Right.
add them together. Right.
Because
Not
I
just add
know
them.
in like what was it?
Because otherwise your initiative would always be the same.
Right. In Beyond the
Right.
Wall, that's the way it is. Your initiative, it never changes. It's
that's-
based on your class and like any bonuses, and that's your order of combat roll every single time. It actually works out pretty nicely, especially for a more rules light game.
Yeah, that's fair.
It looks like rolling.
Okay. So
I
I'll
have
just
my
put a
quick
plus
I have
on
my
there.
quick combat rules from when I was back when I GM'd all the time and roll initiative.
Yeah.
I don't know where to put any of this on this sheet, though.
I'm kind of adding it in,
Oh, where
but
is
there's
it?
like one additional one that I can't really add in, so I'm going to put it in the notes.
Maybe there's another, like, is there another?
Or maybe it's not. Let me look at this again. Because I know like in the monsters, they just have a stagnant initiative, which let's see, look at this monster in the back. And its abilities are no, I don't know. No, I think it's rolling.
Okay.
Anyway. Magic type, right?
Yeah, so I picked magic type. So this type can harness the mystical energy known as magic. Magic is split into two types, seasonal magic and incantation magic. As characters gain levels and more powerful effects of both types of magic become available to them, when a traveler chooses magic type, they receive a grimoire in which to store their incantations. The traveler then records their first two incantation spells within. If the grimoire is lost, the recorded spells within are lost as well. Yikes. So the abilities I get are Will, which puts my max MP +4, which puts me at I can do math, 16. Spellbook, acquire 2 incantation spells per level, and seasonal sorcerer, acquire seasonal magic.
Okay.
So yeah. So magic starts on page 76. And like they said, there are low-level spells, mid-level spells, and high-level spells for incantation magic. Much like in other role-playing games, there's like, a duration of a spell, what you can target, what the range is. But in this game, you also have your MP. It takes 2, like for instance, Pure Crystal Light takes 2 magic, or I say magic points. It's actually mental points, but it takes 2 mental points in order to cast, and it lasts for 12 hours. And you can target a tool, and it glows if and the range is just touching it. But then what's really fun is there's 4 different seasonal magics, and they all have different flavors to it. So like spring feels pretty like your basic like they're just really flavorful. I don't know how to explain it. Like spring has a lot of like this one is called Rose Fever Scatter. It casts allergic like pollen to make people sneeze and be allergic and like make people's noses run.
Oh, amazing.
Summer Magic has like a lightning bug net. You can summon a tent of magical mosquito nets that zaps bugs. So you can it's like these are and like Winter Magic is kind of they're all like flavored kind of like the Ryuujin are flavored.
Yeah.
So each one has a different kind of feel to it. Autumn's magic is really melancholic.
It's really interesting.
Trying to decide like what is right for this. Like spring seems like it's more about like creating things and like which might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spring has more like healing and status effect stuff. And that's again one of my things about this game is it's I wish there was more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's magic lists are not as much, but I mean it's starting out, you don't really need like everything, but I do crave more.
Right. I think I'm going to go with spring because I feel like that feels like it fits more with what this character is and what I want to do, I guess.
Magic has been the one thing that of Ryuutama I've never like it doesn't stick in my brain very well. Like
it feels like it just doesn't quite fit as well as some of the, like, I mean, it's probably extremely setting dependent. But yeah, it feels a little out of place or clunky or, like.
But it feels toned down at the same time.
Yes.
Like compared to like a system with a fully fledged magic system.
Yeah, which is why it feels like I don't like it feels like, oh, I guess we should also put magic.
We should also have magic, I guess.
Like it feels like the heart wasn't in it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like 3 to 6 or so spells per level.
Yeah.
And then there is, just a handful of spells per level of this seasonal magic. I can kind of see it being like more closely related to like folklore sort of magic.
Right. Right. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, basically the way that magic works in this game is like it's all based around your MP. So usually it's like if you don't have to really roll for anything unless like in the spell it says, to roll something. Right. Otherwise it's just like if you have enough MP, you cast it. So there's a whole section on it too in 72, 73. But it was, yeah. Sometimes it can feel, well, see, that's it. See, look, roll the magic check. So there is a roll to it. So this is what I mean. Like I've played this game for so long, but our magic stuff, like it always felt like a little bit like it wasn't very clear. Like you have the MP, you spend the MP, then you have to do like it says, roll the magic check in spirit. If 2 ones are rolled, the spell fails. Any other result usually indicates success. So it's like
so maybe unless the GM says like this is harder this time because
I guess that was one of those ones that we always are like, well, I guess if you just roll above a 2, you're fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what spells you're taking then, Amelia?
What do I get? So are these incantations are different than seasonal spells?
Yes. Incantation, you get to just choose 2 to begin with.
Right. So it doesn't say, actually, it says that I get seasonal magic. It doesn't say that I get any of those spells.
Yeah.
Though.
At 79, you acquire spring magic, and low level automatically learned at level 1 as all of that level 1 stuff.
Oh, okay.
So if you took spring, you would get wake up and stand up, Amina, no, and cure ++, and ritual.
Oh, very nice.
Then you wouldn't get I think you get an incantation spell every level, but you don't unlock the next level of spring magic until level 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's low level spells. Like 2 spells each level. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so wild. I start with 2.
Yeah, you get a lot of spells.
Yeah. Apparently.
And I think that's basically character creation. And then stuff that happens afterwards is, you choose your party roles, which is leader, mapper, quartermaster, and then the journal keeper. And then you would create your Ryuujin. The GM would create their Ryuujin.
Okay. Since we don't have a GM, we would probably want to like at least decide some stuff about this Ryuujin, right?
Right, before we do any of our like world stuff.
Do you want me to kind of take us through the Ryuujin process as well?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we could. Yeah.
Okay. So basically the way that Ryuujin works is there are 4 types that you can choose from. And there's a green dragon, blue dragon, red dragon, and a black dragon. So if you're going to take the green dragon, the keywords for that kind of the kind of storytelling that you're going to go for are traveling to faraway lands, long journeys, adventures, quests, hope, freedom, balance. If you were to take the blue dragon or the azure dragon, is that right? Azure's blue. Yes, azure dragon. It would be the human heart, love, youth, heartwarming tales, healing, communication, human drama, friendship, children, so boys and girls, families, siblings, teachers, pupils, and animals. Crimson dragon is fighting, battle, war, heroes, competition, struggle, growth, worthy rivals, monster hunting, dungeon exploration, hack and slash, death traps. And then the black dragon is intrigue, betrayal, solving mysteries, assassination, tragedy, madness, decay, aesthetics, fear, madness, confusion, depravity, the criminal underworld, and gambling.
Amazing. So that's Amelia's dragon color.
I see.
Shock. I feel like for what we've kind of talked about here, green is probably
Yes.
Green
correct.
does feel good.
So the first thing that you would do is the green dragon, every Ryuujin gets to pick an artifact. So the artifacts to choose from for the green dragon are an encyclopedia, a sextant, or a torch. So the encyclopedia says it's you're running the game using the rules as written. It doesn't really give anything. It's just basic information. It is as it is. You're not going to do anything outside of just how the rules are. A sextant is this artifact indicates that the GM has created a few original rules and will be using them. And then torch is this brightens the path ahead. So at the end of each session, all the experience gained by the PCs is doubled. So my group wanted the torch. So we took the torch, and boy, did we level fast. So that's that part of the Ryuujin. Let me go look at the rest of the rules.
Yeah, the order that things are in this book is a little confusing. Like, it starts to talk about things, and then it's like, and back to this.
Yeah. I wish it had a checklist like it did for the players.
It has like a step-by-step guide on page 24, but it looks like the actual creation it doesn't start until 133.
Yes. Let me look at my character sheet that I made for my Ryuujin. I did give it a name. So you make a name, you have a race, you have an alternate form. Oh, there it is. I wasn't looking at it. I was just 2 pages away. So you choose a type. We chose the green dragon. And then you choose a shape-shifted appearance. So all Ryuujin have 3 forms: a horned human, a great dragon, and 1 other form. This third shape-changing form is a non-threatening one that they can use to approach the travelers. So I had a hummingbird at one point in time as a Ryuujin I chose, or a tiny fox. So if we had a GM, I don't know what we would want to choose, but
I like tiny fox.
Tiny fox. You start at a level as well. So our Ryuujin would start at level 1. Life points represent the Ryuujin's health and vigor. And they allow the Ryuujin to use benedictions and reveals. All Ryuujin begin with 3 LP. If the Ryuujin's LP score drops to 0, the Ryuujin dies.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Then what happens? Game over?
They are gone
over.
forever and never return. If the Ryuujin dies in the middle of a journey, the journey must either end immediately or a new Ryuujin must be created, step in, and guide the journey to its end.
Oh, wild.
We chose an artifact.
Which one did we pick?
I do
we did.
I do like the encyclopedia one, just rules as written.
Got it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Too. Also, I just like encyclopedias.
And then, then you would just personalize Ryuujin so that on page 135, they have like a choose a name, choose an appearance, choose a personality, choose a goal, choose a home, note your travelers, note your world, and then have a travelogue history. So again, I didn't really, I guess we could talk about this more, but I am, as a graphic designer, I tend to redesign everything to fit my needs. So I had redesigned the character sheets for not only the players, but also for the GM as well, the Ryuujin.
Yeah. And we do have, like, in our discussion section, we have a point to, like, talk about the character sheets. I'm really interested to find out, like, what because I don't love these ones. Um,
I'm with you.
so what do we think is a good like personality here?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's hard because like if it was a GM, right? Like if you had the GM, they would be the ones making this, right? Because it's
Right.
like this is their character. So I can kind of give you guys what I made the last couple
Yeah,
times
go
as a
for
GM.
it.
Okay. So the first time I ever ran, I'm looking at my character sheet, which says March 4th, 2018.
Love it.
Uh,
The before times.
the Ryuujin I had, her name was Parnell because I wanted something that was like reflective of spring.
Mhm.
She was a green dragon. Her alternate form was a hummingbird. And I basically said her goal was to record stories about growth, charity, and overcoming obstacles. She lived in a small cottage covered in growth located in a willow tree grove. And then her personality was dainty, empathetic, eager, and inviting.
Okay.
So I wanted her to be very like helpful and like excited about stuff and would like she would use like I wanted her to be able to use her like benedictions and stuff liberally because I was like she wants these people to succeed. She wants these players
Yeah.
to succeed.
So this feels like the group's personal like spirit that is kind of guiding them through this journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's very specifically a spirit that enjoys puppetry and the arts, from what I'm guessing.
I feel like there's a level of like curiosity too, because you're trying to create this martial art kind of like master this kind of thing. Ryan is trying to find themselves. I'm trying to create this new die.
Mm.
So it's a lot of like looking for things and ways to do things and
Yeah.
so like I feel like there's creativity, there's curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
and plus the tiny fox, it kind of like curious, shy, and full of wonder.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
And then a goal for this would be to spread joy through puppetry.
Or just like spread joy through discovery or
Oh yeah.
creativity, spread joy through creativity is probably
I think so.
I like that. Very nice.
And like so I'm not going to go too deep into it because like the benedictions and reveals are supposed to be stuff that happens at the beginning of a session or during a session.
Sure.
Mhm.
To kind of give you guys an idea of like what to expect. It's like, okay, we all sit down. Well, I want to cast, the tale of the journey. Then it says up to 2 PCs who roleplay ardently pursuing the goal of the journey can ignore all weather modifiers for the rest of the session.
Mm.
Because that's
cool.
the thing we didn't really talk about is like terrain and weather all plays into those target numbers that you guys have to roll against during your journey checks or any other kinds of checks. Another benediction for this one that my group really loved was the Tale of the Traveler's Journal, which is at the end of the session, up to 2 PCs who write about their journey in a travel diary will receive their character level times 300 in gold.
Wow.
So like basically the Ryuujin is becoming like the Tooth Fairy, but for stories.
I love it.
And then like other stuff you can start to like learn other benedictions as well. They're more generic in the back. Reveals are kind of like spells that you cast during the session. Where it's like, for instance, Guidance of the Dragon costs 2 LP and it's usable when the travelers are lost. You can change a PC's failed directional check into a success.
Mm. And that's where those life points come into play, huh?
Yeah. And you don't want to run out of those. So you kind of have to be balanced. And I like that, right? Like that's, one of the things I was told early on when I started GMing was don't become don't insert a GM PC, right? Like,
yeah.
Don't just step in all the time and try to be part of the group. And I like that they have like a mechanical reason why you just can't keep using spells.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I like this. And then it looks like the last thing for this is the living quarters.
Oh yeah. Where does the Ryuujin live?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like somewhere wooded or,
Yeah, like it's got to be somewhere secret. It kind of says it's like a mysterious place.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be on this plane of existence, right?
Right.
Like it could be in a little pocket dimension.
I feel like it's by like a secret lake. Like there's a lake somewhere.
Like a small pond or something. Lake would work too.
Sure.
How big of
small
a
lake? I don't know. Ponds just like sound gross and scummy to me, and I want it to be pretty.
Okay. That's fine.
A shimmering lake in the middle of a dense, secluded forest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where the world building starts.
That's what I was looking for too. We
Where
build
are
the
you?
world. We just got to find it.
Where? Oh, there it is. World creation rules. 126.
126.
And then town creation rules 123.
Oh, there you go.
So it's really funny to make a town first and then start talking about the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it feels a little backwards.
It feels like we're going like super focused in and then moving outwards.
Yeah. So is this town supposed to be like we're not necessarily all from the same place? Is this just like
But we could.
So the way
home
that
base,
way
or-
that I handled it was, and it was, it's different, right? Like I made the continent first, and then I said let's populate some towns on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So we made a map, and what I did was I spread a bunch of macaroni onto a piece of paper, and then I just traced around the macaroni to make a continent, and then I said, okay, let's start making some towns on this continent, and they have a the town creation sheet where it's like select a name for the town, and you choose the population. You can choose a system of government. You can choose the environment, like the representative building. So like just like coming up with buildings that
Mhm.
like make up this town, like they have a look to it, like, right? Like when you've traveled to Florida and everything is like pastel.
Mhm.
Specialty goods, the sight and sound and smell, and then like threats.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like they even have a section like when do you create towns? When do you create a world?
Yep.
And so like they suggest you at the end of a session, at the start of a session, or before you arrive at a town. So I mean, technically we might not even have to create a town unless we want to create our hometown if we're all from the same place, right?
Right.
I also feel like, I mean, there's a level of, because you are traveling and journeying, that like maybe we really don't know that much about the world, that like this gets discovered along the way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like the idea of, especially for the show right now too, because,
Yeah.
like otherwise it feels like arbitrary, kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because, with world building, it's either in the middle of the campaign for players that are not accustomed to the game yet, which Amelia and myself are not.
Right.
Playing a few sessions with a vaguely defined fantasy world, it says, until everyone has a handle of the feel of the game, which is interesting. And then for people that are familiar with the feel of Ryuutama, there is, before the campaign starts, world building, which is what we normally do on the show when there's collaborative world building.
But I also think a lot of times we do that as a way to inform our characters, and we've already made our characters.
Yeah,
Right.
no, exactly. And I think leaving the world kind of a mystery, we kind of talked about a little bit of the world kind of in a vague sense with our character creation, which was interesting. We know arts are important to our characters. It might be not super important to the world, or at least puppetry isn't, and we want to make it important, right? Or we want to bring it back, and maybe there's a reason why it kind of went out of style or something. Maybe there's a reason we want to bring it back into style. That's kind of a like find out in place sort of thing that we could do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's what I like about this game. Like, even as you're reading through this book, it like you were calling out, like if you're experienced, if you're not experienced, or this might require more ad-libbing, or how does your table feel about doing all of this? Like the tools are there if you want to make a town and if you want to make the worlds like that. But if you're a group of people who are experienced and everybody's played together and you like playing to find out, you can also do that too. And it's kind of how I kind of started out that way. Like I started out more, we didn't have that much experience. We sat down and did a lot of like world building together at the beginning. But then by the time I was running my second campaign, we just played to find out, and it was really fun. And I would just ask questions as we were doing stuff, and then I would try to weave it back in. But
Yeah.
but it's got some good worksheets for both the town creation and the world building as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool. That's pretty, it seems like that's pretty much everything that we needed for our PC
Yeah.
character creation here.
Yep.
Amazing.
We did it.
We did
Did it. I know.
it.
Amber, thank you so much for joining us for our Ryuutama character creation episodes. Do you want to remind people where they can find you and what stuff you're up to?
Yeah, so you can find me, the best place is just go to my website, rocketorca.com. That's the hub for all of the things I do, podcasting, my art, my portfolio is all there. And also Cloud Curio, which is my TTRPG indie publishing company, which has lots of GM prep tools and system neutral things like items, magic, spells, and like rooms and cities, things that you can use for your games. And that website is thecloudcurio.com because cloudcurio.com, let's take it.
Oh, no. Well, thank you again. And thank you to everybody for listening. Please join us on the next episode for our discussion block. Call to action.
Yeah, like that. So this end of character creation was kind of interesting and not something that we've really, and we'll get more into it in the discussion.
Yeah.
But not something that we've really done a lot of on this show, which is get a little frustrated. I still like Ryuutama as a core concept, but you can definitely hear that we were starting to get a little annoyed.
Where is this? Like, why isn't this on the sheet? Why are these things important and everything? It was a very interesting experience because we've gone into games like Heroes Unlimited or whatever, knowing that, things aren't optimal and just dealing with it, right?
Right. We've gone into games where we were like, we know this is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get into it.
So because it was from quite a while ago, like the 90s or the 80s or so. And like this one was from 2007, which I hadn't known until like actually researching the game leading up to the episode. Yeah. Because in the States, it was only out since 2015.
Right. Yeah. And we'll get into more of that, like kind of, design era stuff, I think, in the discussion too.
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel like it's rare for us to be on air being like, I don't know about this.
Right. So, yeah, it was a wild experience.
Yeah. Stay tuned for a very interesting discussion. This was I'm excited for people to hear the discussion portion of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It all builds up to the great episode next episode. So stay tuned for that. But before we let you go for the week, we do have our calls to action. As mentioned in our opening, you might have noticed some ads showing up at the beginning or the ending of episodes. This is all part of the One Shot Network's move to Megaphone, which is our new hosting service. The revenue from these ads will help fund the network and its shows like ours. What's nice is any ad revenue that our show specifically produces, we get a majority of those funds directly to us to help with production and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly how much those ads are going to cover. It's based on downloads and all that sort of fun stuff, but we know it's not going to cover all of our costs, which is why we do have the Patreon for our show. And for those that don't like ads, if you want, you can get access to ad-free episodes by becoming a patron of Character Creation Cast specifically. So those at the side quest level, the $5 and up level, will get access to your very own ad-free feed, which basically mirrors the current feed of our show.
We have levels available all the way from $1 a month to $50 a month. I think we have a lot of really good benefits available too. We took a lot of time to kind of think about what would be what would people want? I think we've got some good stuff in there.
Absolutely.
So that includes weekly recorded conversations with Ryan and I, where we just sit down and chat about what have we chatted about? We've talked about Portal 2. We've talked about the World Cup. We've talked about Midwestern German Christmas traditions. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Also,
all kinds of stuff.
Capitalism.
We talk a lot about capitalism. We've been pretty good.
We've been very good lately.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about when we're going to have Taylor Swift on the show.
That's true.
So,
yep. So if you want to hear all about how
we're going to get Taylor Swift,
are going to officially invite Taylor Swift on the show next year sometime, and hopefully it'll work out for us. You can hear all about how that conversation started.
So if you want to hear that sort of nonsense, you can back us on Patreon. We also have monthly Zoom calls, and potentially you could even have a private game with us if you wanted. So you can find all of that at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Plus, if you join, we get to read your name and say a thank you out loud on every episode. We have a brand new patron this week, A3 Sketchpad. Welcome to our Patreon. We're really excited that you're here with us. Thank you so much for your generosity.
Yeah, thank you so much. In addition to A3 Sketchpad, we would like to thank all of our continuing patrons, starting with Lieutenant. Many thanks to you.
DJ G, aka Tigranosaurus. Thank you for your support.
Eric Bonds, thanks.
Many thanks to you, Matt Newton.
Shadim Cabal, thank you so much.
We really appreciate your support, Daryl Holiday II. Thank you.
The Shyest Barbarian, we're happy to have you here with us. Thank you.
Benjamin Sweeney, thank you for your continued support.
Lorcan McGinnis, thank you as well for your continued support.
Rob Fletcher, thank you for your support.
Kevin Brown, we're happy to have you here with us as well. Thank you.
Tentacle Duck. Thank you.
And John Adamus, thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you, and thank you to all of our future patrons. You really do make it easier for us to make the show, and we're grateful for all of your support. If you aren't able to chip in financially, you can still do us a huge favor by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Podcast Addict. We read all of our 5-star reviews on our episodes, and we've also been sharing them every Friday on our social media accounts, too.
Absolutely. That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with the final episode of 2022. Where we get into some really great discussion that we hinted at earlier with Amber about character sheets and the importance of layout. So absolutely stay tuned for that. Until then, take care of yourselves, take some time to relax, drink some water, and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Amelia Antrim, and I can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning or on my other podcast, Garbage of the Five Rings. Our other host, Ryan Bolter, can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast it originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by the absolutely fantastic Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game system used in today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, extra outtakes, and much, much more patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.